Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Armada Universe Wheeljack, baby. Finally, he's here. I've been waiting all year for this guy. Because technically he was supposed to arrive way earlier in the year. Problem is, Ramjet took forever to release, so I was kind of stuck with waiting on him, but as an Armada fan myself, you know, kind of grew up with that stuff. I was very excited to get my hands on Wheeljack, even though technically there was another guy in Energon who should have been named Wheeljack, but wasn't named Wheeljack, and to be honest, this would have made for a really good sideswipe, but it wasn't. Even though now it is, because it's a sideswipe mold, but still. I very much enjoyed his storyline of betrayal and then coming around and rejoining the good man. By the way, that is a spoiler warning, but to be honest, Armada is about like 25 years old, so don't ask me. It's not 25, actually, it's like 23, maybe. 24? 23 or 4. I don't know. I forgot when it started. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You know, it's a spoiler for a show that came out before you were born, so it doesn't necessarily matter. Anyway, here we got him finally, and yes, as I said, he is the sideswipe mold. And also, just like I guessed in the open box video, the chest is indeed remolded entirely, like a new mold, which is nice. I'm a big fan of that one. Also, I am kind of drenched a little bit. I don't think you can see it here on my jacket, but I am a bit drenched because I was just walking the dog, and it was sunny when I started walking her. However, then when I saw my house out of nowhere, it was just like, here's just a storm. It's like, oh god, so much rain. So we just got peddled with a lot of rain. It wasn't hail, it was actually like rain. But I wasn't necessarily expecting that because it is still July by the time I'm recording this. Because technically, I think actually this might be the first review of August, baby. Alright. And also, another thing is, yesterday I did a couple of reviews and I completely forgot to add this idiot in as size comparison. So, apologies on that one. And also, I kind of need to hurry up a little bit, so maybe I shouldn't keep talking forever because of the fact that in about an hour, less than actually, in about 50 minutes, we have the Pokemon Presents that starts, because right now the DJ Pikachu set is happening, which I personally don't really care about, but still, I want to see that Pokemon Presents, so, let's get into it, shall we, by bringing him in closer to look at that new head sculpt that looks very, very nice, and also I think very accurate to his model in the show. But here's the new chest, and to be honest, I love this mold. I have always loved this mold, but I don't know if this guy is my favorite, to be honest. If they had like a Generation 2 sideswipe version, that would have been easily been my favorite, because I'm a sucker for black plus red, but this one has the blue, so maybe this might actually be my favorite one of the mold. And also he's got a new chest, but it's like an entirely new chest. Look at the way that it looks. The cross on the Autobot symbol, love the opening there. There's a little tiny Decepticon symbol under it, just beautiful, and then the blue stripes as well. And then after that, it's just basically a lot of like black and white, you know how it goes. And then on the back, he also is very clean, big fan of that. However, for anyone who is wondering, no, he does not turn into the vehicle that he was in the Transformers Armada show, but they did try to emulate it with the chest at least. The front of the car looks like the old show, but it's like, it's still just the sideswipe mold. You know, that's just how it goes. But that's not all you get with this beautiful gold-faced guy, because of the fact he gets some weapons. Starting off, you get this thing right here, look at it. Look at this thing, you can put it up your booty hole if you want to, but this thing is very nice. Comes with all of the side swipes, and if you want to attach it, obviously, you can plug it into either of the two holes, but because of the peg, we'll just plug it onto this side of the hole, and bam, now he has his shoulder cannon, baby. That he actually, I actually just looked it up just to kind of refresh my memory, but he does not actually come with this thing in the show. He does not have it. He looks like this in the show. He isn't supposed to have this. However, the original figure has like some yellow here on the white pieces here. So maybe you could just use that to emulate it. But also it is a thing that this mold comes with. It always comes with something like this. So I kind of wish actually that instead of putting in this thing, maybe they could have retooled the back of the car as well in order to more closely emulate the car that he was in the actual show, and just omit this piece entirely because it doesn't necessarily matter. But that is not all he comes with, because also he comes with some sticks, baby. Yes, with some nice gaps here in the back, but he got some sticks that he can beat people with. You know, he can beat people to death with him if you want to. And obviously he can hold it in his hand if you want to, you know. It's just a stick for beating, a beating stick. Would Wheeljack be an abusive dad or not? Would he beat his son with these things? I don't know. But there you go. Here he has his weapons, so now he can attack the enemy that comes, whichever one the enemy are, because he's got both symbols. So whichever side he's on this week, you know, that one he can just beat to death. But I was a big fan of Wheeljack's story. It wasn't as good as Starscream's story, but let's be honest here, what really is, okay? But that is about all that I can do with the weapons, because of the fact that there's not really anything else I want to do with the weapons anyway. There's no real storage necessarily. I mean, not for the peg here on the side. I think that's more for vehicle mode storage, because I don't actually see a way to store it on him. I was kind of hoping that would be a bigger gap so you could just store it in his back, but no, not really. So this is probably just for vehicle mode. So then let us get straight into the articulation segment. Just like the other side swipes, exactly the same. So you got a full rotation on the head and also side to side and some up and down as well. You got the rotation here at the arm end all the way out. A swivel bicep thing here, bicep bend, and also an in and out. However, because of the fact that this idiot comes with melee weapons, he has the unfortunate problem that Sideswipe and Red Alert didn't, because they didn't necessarily need wrist rotation. But when you come with melee weapons, a wrist rotation is all that is needed, and you don't have it. But he does have a waist rotation, and his legs can go forward, they can go back. They can go in and out, and you also have a rotation up there. You got a bend at the knee that opens up that piece, but still you got a bend at the knee, and also the feet cannot really move, but it can ankle tilt. So that's nice, you know, you got the standard articulation, because articulation is the priority, which is why they've gone with skeleton combiners, in case you didn't know. But overall, yeah, he's a pretty cool figure. So then let us get straight then into the next segment, which obviously is sets comparison. And obviously we're starting this off with the man himself, Sideswipe. Here he is. Look at the two of them together, and look at the chests. Look at the two chests together. Like, you can see that it is very much different. But I've had to transform this guy so much for these Transformers Generation 1 reviews that I'm like, yeah, that chest is entirely different on the new mold. But still, big fan of both of these figures. They look great together. But outside of the chest, there's not really much new here, outside of that glorious paint job. So then next up, here we got him with some of the Armada boys. I don't know why you were falling over, my friend, but still. Anyway, some of the Armada boys right here. We got him next to his arch nemesis right there, and also with Red Alert. I decided to grab 2 Autobots and 2 Decepticons to make it simple, you know, because he has the big Autobot logo, but also the tiny Decepticon logo. But he looks good with them. To be honest, he actually does kind of fit in with the rest of them, even though he is technically just a G1 figure. But I still say that he fits in very nicely with them. So let's get them out of here and bring in my Decepticons of choice. And obviously, my Decepticons of choice would be none other than the Mega Man and Screamer themselves, boys. Look at them together with Armada Wheeljack. Big fan. Big fan. Look at that. Looks great with the two of them. And also here we have Kid from Knight Rider. So then let's get them out of here. Let's pull you in a little bit closer and let's get into that very familiar transformation. So let's transform good old Wheeljack from Armada. Very familiar for me, but still. Starting off, you fold in the hands until they don't want to push in anymore. Open up the chest. Push the head a bit forward. I'll rotate this all the way around. Push that back. But like, I found it that the head sometimes can kind of block it, so just fold the head forward is what I like to do. And then also fold this bad boy down and in like so. After that, fold the arms out, come in here and rotate out the doors. Rotate this in, fold this up, and then just get that like so. Rotate this in. I hear some music in the background from the Pokemon live stream, and then close the doors back up. Kind of weird how the doors work, but whatever. Anyway, rotate the waist. Then you open up the leg pieces here. You push out these pieces here on the back. Fold this up. Fold this up. Tap these bad boys together like so. Rotate this whole thing all the way around like so. Close it back up, and bam, there you go. He is a little bit wobbly. I don't know why, because nothing is really like wrong necessarily, but fix the wobbliness. He's not wobbly anymore. But here we have But here we have Wheeljack from Armada in his vehicular form. So here we have Wheeljack in his vehicular form, and to be honest, yeah, it's Sideswipe again. It's basically just Sideswipe again. I've looked at this design like 3 times now. This is like, I think, the 3rd time actually, because I don't know who else was Sideswipe. I mean, I only really picked up Sideswipe and Red Alert because the other ones didn't really matter to me. So this is the 3rd time, but it's still basically just the same, except for look at the new front, boys. Look at the new front. Looks very cool. I love the way that it's just different from Sideswipe and Red Alert and all the others, you know. And I still love the 2 symbols right there with the cross. I love the mechanical detail you get in the inside. I love the blue here. I also love the silverish, I don't know, grayish, I don't know, thing here as well. You know, overall, it is not a bad vehicle mode. It's just like the back of the vehicle does not look accurate to what Wheeljack looked like in the Armada show, but the front does. So instead of throwing in this idiot, maybe they could have just retooled the back as well in order to make it a little bit more like Armada Wheeljack. But overall, he looks very, very nice. You got the nice gold here on the wheels as well. No gold plastic syndrome, at least not that I know of. The back looks like this, just basically a hinge right there. But yeah, you got the black and the blue. Very big fan of this. This might actually be my favorite colored-wise of the Sideswipe molds that I personally own, because obviously, like I said, my favorite would have to be the G2 version, which I don't actually know if it exists. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I have no idea if a G2 version of Sideswipe exists out of this mold, and if it does, it's probably just some kind of an exclusive that you're never gonna be able to get your hands on. So then, let us look at the weapon storage for these 2 things, because if you look here on the side, you have a little bit of a Gapparino right there, and in that Gapparino, you can take this and just place it in here. It's a little bit of a, come on, there you go. Which might be accurate to the show. I actually do not know about this one. Oh, come on. However, I, sadly enough, this time around, don't have time to look this up because of the fact that Pokemon stream is about to start, so I kind of need to finish this bad boy up in that sense. But here you go. You can have these things. And to be honest, they don't necessarily look too horrible. If it wasn't for the black here at the end, they don't necessarily look too horrible to be on the side here. And maybe this is accurate, who knows. And obviously you can plop this bad boy up at the top as you do, you know. And this also, I never showed this off, but this can actually detach, so you can technically shoot a missile from in here. But this thing is less important, let's just say that. Very much less important. So let's take this bad boy off. And yeah, outside of that, I don't necessarily really know what else to talk about. Also, I love the black here. I love the black on this guy. And obviously clear plastic, which I do not necessarily like. He still has the same kind of like symbol thing that Sideswipe did. Don't know why they kept that. Don't know what that's even supposed to mean, but whatever. But anyway, like I said, nothing else necessarily to talk about because these vehicle segments are always shorter. There's no articulation to speak of, so it would mean straight into sets comparison. Starting off here, we have Sideswipe from the original mold to the figure. And here you can kind of see that really the only difference here is the front, but now it is better visible with how different the front is. Big fan of the fact that they actually retooled the front, because to be honest, they didn't have to do it. Okay, they did not have to retool the front. They chose to do it. They were like, well, since we're already, you know, gonna do the Autobot symbol, let's just get a new front piece on top of it. So that, I love it. I love the fact that they did that. But outside of that, you know, from the back, from the top, from the bottom, it's all the same. So except for the front piece, it is all the same. But still, looks very nice next to Sideswipe. So let's get you out of here because of the fact that I forgot someone yesterday, and I'm gonna make that a priority to do that now. Kid from Knight Rider, baby! Here he is, looking very big, but I forgot him in yesterday's review, sadly enough. But man, does he look good. Kid, that is. But so does Wheeljack, and these are very much out of scale, but that's always going to happen because these are not masterpieces, boys. So then here we have Red Alert and Hot Shot, the one that Wheeljack very much hates, if I remember correctly. Because if I remember correctly, Hot Shot kind of left him for dead. So that is a bit of an understandable reason as to why you would dislike someone. But here he is with them, and then finally, obviously, here we have him next to Megatron and Screamer, baby. The Mega Man and Screamer combo. You gotta have that combo. I really want that 86 Megatron so I can have the Mega Man Starscream combo in Generation 1, because, man, that one from Dramatic Capture Series is awful. But overall, here they are, and they look very nice together, you know. I mean, he kind of does feel a little bit out of place thanks to the back end of the car, but overall, he looks nice anyway. So let's get them out of here. Bring you in closer and let me remove those things and get into reverse transformation. So let's get Wheeljack back into his robot mode. Called this guy Sideswipe because, to be honest, that mold is just a Sideswipe mold to me. Anyway, what you want to start off with is very simple. You want to rotate him around, open up these panels here, and then unfold the back like so, and then push these pieces in, which in turn will on the other side fold out the feet. So you just fold that out fully, get these things ready, split the legs, rotate the waist, and then open up these side panels, open this up, get the arms out, put the side panels in here, open up this piece right here, rotate them down and have it in, fold out the hands, straighten out the arms, fold out the hands, straighten out the arms, and bam, there you go! Maybe a new record for how fast I did it, but I don't remember how fast I did it with Sideswipe and Red Alert. But anyway, here we have Armada Wheeljack back into his robotic form. So, final thoughts on good old Armada Wheeljack. What do I think about him? Well, I think about him the exact same way as I think about Sideswipe and Red Alert. I think he's a great mold. Overall, this is actually a really fun mold. Transformation is easy, but still fun. And also, it looks good in both modes. Now, obviously, I have a personal gripe about the fact that the vehicle mode is not entirely accurate to the show. But to be honest, what are you gonna do about it, right? There's not really much you can do about that, sadly enough. I kind of wish that there was, but there isn't. So do I recommend this figure? Now, that's kind of where we come into a slight problem. And that is the fact it's a very simple problem. And that is, do you already own Sideswipe or Red Alert? Because if so, I would say it's on a lesser scale, but if you are an Armada fan, it's an easy pickup right there. This mold is fantastic, so obviously it's a pickup right there, but the thing about it is the fact that if you already own the Sideswipe mold, maybe you want to buy a new mold instead of buy a retool. So, in that sense, I personally would recommend it, especially to Armada fans, but there is that weariness for some people maybe. But overall, yes, I would recommend it. He's a fun deluxe. But that has been my review of Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Armada Wheeljack, baby! Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that bell, and comment your thoughts on this figure. And please check out my Let's Play channel, linked in the description and at the end of the video. I upload 3 videos every day of different games, but mainly Pokemon. And I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye!